All right. Now let me make this a little bit bigger so you see. And those of you who are brand new who don't know who I am the founder and CEO of Ivy League Crypto Academy. I teach cryptocurrency for a living. I've been doing this since 2016. I had a revelation in 2017 that blockchain technology is going to disrupt every single industry on the planet today. And your opinion is irrelevant. Or as The Rock would say, it doesn't matter what you think. Oh yeah. I've been paying attention to getting ready for WrestleMania. But I got started in this space and I loved it. I switched my career to this, and this dark fusion, it is like going back to 2009, 2010, when Bitcoin was first discovered, when people first started to realize what it is, and you read the Bitcoin white paper. I believe this is on that level because it's taking it to the next. It's like going from AOL dial-up internet speed to Wi-Fi high-speed streaming service now. That's what dark fusion is doing for Bitcoin, and we get the chance to be here at the beginning of this. I'm also a Vara ambassador, and I am a vice admiral, soon to be admiral of the fleet for Vara. And for those of you who also don't know, what does that mean? Vara ambassadors, we have the unique and the only licensed opportunity to be able to market all the products within the Fusion One Dark Fusion ecosystem. Us Vara ambassadors are the early adopters. We are the first ones that are gaining access to also their technology, also airdrops, tokens, and all the stuff that they're going to be coming out with. We get first dibs on that. People say, how do I get my hands on a VRX token? You got to be a Vara ambassador right now. That's the only way. DFG got to be a Vara ambassador. Well, no, it kind of just kind of went live, right? January, I'll show you, January 31st, the DFG airdrop happened. I got in on it, and contrary to popular belief, because people still think I had the inside scoop, I did not. I got it late. So the early birds got 250 DFG airdrops. I got 200 because I got in about 6 hours later. I was asleep. I didn't know what was going on. So you had a chance. You were paying attention to get these airdrops. All right. So now let's go into the dark fusion. And I'm covering this next week. Next week, I'm going to go over the dark fusion docs as well as the VRX doc. This is going to be next week. I don't know if I'm going to do it next Saturday or during the week, but just be on the lookout for that. I'm going to cover those two. But today, we're going to do the dark fusion white paper. So this is big enough. I'll make it a little bit bigger so you guys can go along with me. All right. So just on the table of contents, we've got the state of today's blockchains and imperfect solutions, smart contracts and blockchains, dark fusion, simple contract language, how it works, native hosting. We're going to be covering the dark fusion product suite, validators and nodes, governance, the DFG tokens, source of revenue, and then the disclaimers. And I'll give another disclaimer again. You can never do that enough. There is no guarantee of any income directly stated by indirect or direct. There is opportunity, and the opportunity is based on your efforts, your participation, and your product sales. There's absolutely no guarantee. And I am not a licensed financial advisor. And there are certain jurisdictions that are restricted from participating based on your country's legal code at the moment, which at any given time can change. So just keep that in mind. I want to get the disclaimers out the way. Abstract. Blockchains have come a long way since Bitcoin first went live in early 2009. At the time, blockchain was designed as an ingenious way for digital value to be transferred between participants without the need for trust, while preserving anonymity. Now, nearly 15 years later, blockchains are expected to support decentralized finance, collectible images and objects, gaming and reward economies, identity management solutions, and a plethora of various decentralized apps in a new era of Web3 technology. I got to ask another question to all of you. Have you read the Bitcoin white paper? Type me in the chat box. Have you read the Bitcoin white paper? If you have not, I strongly suggest that you do. You might even say, well, you might not be a reader. And we've got those out there. People say, well, I don't, it seems too complicated. I don't want to read it. Well, guess what? I recorded myself reading it and I put it on YouTube. So here is the Bitcoin white paper. I will post the link in the chat box for those of you that want to let me read it to you. You can just listen to it. But if you have read this, then what I'm about to show you is going to have even more impact. So if you've never read it, it's okay to still go through this, but go back and read the Bitcoin white paper. But you will have a more of appreciation for what this project is doing if you understand what the Bitcoin white paper is to begin with. Okay. The entirety of these operations are based on one common blockchain technology, the smart contract. On Ethereum alone, there were 6.2 million smart contracts deployed between January and July of 2023. We just go back last year. Just in that 7-month period, 6.2 million smart contracts. Can you imagine just 6.2 million transactions? How many transactions did each of these smart contracts do? Think about that. The scale of this. And that's just on Ethereum in a 7-month period. However, the smart contract hasn't evolved substantially since its creation. Even today, we see smart contracts as a packaged product of an underlying native distributed ledger technology. Ethereum smart contracts are programmed in Solidity and Solana contracts and are called program libraries and are primarily coded in Rust. Each smart contract technology inherits the technology of the underlying layer it is built upon. Public blockchains are purpose-built to maintain the ethos of distribution and decentralization to foster the trustless and semi-anonymous transaction of digital value between parties. But they suffer immensely in scale, performance, speed, reliability, and cost as a result. Solana has suffered from 17 outages in the 4 years it has been in the market. Has that ever happened on the Bitcoin blockchain? Never. Solana, 17 in 4 years. And Ethereum gas fees once ballooned to thousands of dollars per transaction. I've been doing a mini swap on some tokens last week. And just a $75 transaction, Ethereum wanted to charge me $30-something in fees. A couple of years ago, one transaction, the Ethereum fees was more than the actual transaction itself. Certainly, there is a better approach to building decentralized applications. Dark Fusion has pioneered the first, and this is the key, first. Sometimes it's not who does it best, it's who does it first. Up until now, Bitcoin was not the best technology in the crypto space. Litecoin is actually better than Bitcoin. It's a clone of it. But Bitcoin is the first. It's the most trusted. It's the biggest. So Dark Fusion being the first. Now, I don't know if anyone's going to come behind, try to copy them or whatever to do better. But Dark Fusion will always have that title. The first major breakthrough in a smart contract technology since its inception nearly a decade ago. It has created simple contract language. So that is like, if you see we had down here, Solidity is what Ethereum is using. Well, on Bitcoin, it's going to be called SCL, Simple Contract Language, a smart contract modeling language that is independent of and compatible with any distributed ledger technology. In other words, with not just the Bitcoin blockchain, but any blockchain. When implemented on Bitcoin's Lightning Network, SCL is fast, scalable, reliable, and inexpensive, making it one of the biggest breakthroughs in the Bitcoin network in years. Let's repeat that again. This is one of the biggest breakthroughs. Man, I wish I got into Bitcoin 10 years ago. How would you like to get involved with technology right now? That's the biggest breakthrough in Bitcoin in years. So with SCL, Dark Fusion has created a suite of products: SCL Token Standard, SCL Trade, Fusion One Wallet, Fusion One Explorer. Together with SCL, these products allow dApp developers to readily deploy new Web3 technologies on a limitless, coding language agnostic, smart contract framework with the necessary infrastructure out the gate. The Fusion One Explorer, let me help you understand what that is. Every single Bitcoin transaction is recorded on the blockchain. Every single Ethereum transaction is recorded on theirs, Etherscan. Well, SCL has its own. Every single transaction using SCL technology will be recorded, and you will be able to see every single one. Look at all this is from the, oh wow, I didn't see that earlier. SCL, you see that? They must be doing some testing. I didn't see that earlier. Or if that's a fake, a copycat. Look at all these. You'll be able to see every company or ecosystem that's utilizing this technology. You'll be able to see. Here's DFG, for example. Currently, 3,880 holders, circulating supply 473,000. You heard the tokenomics yesterday about how many tokens in these early stages. Well, actually, that was for VRG or VRX. I'm sorry, not DFG. We'll get into this tokenomics next week. But you can see everything that's going on. This is the blockchain. So together with SCL, these products allow dApp developers to readily deploy, and starting right out the gate. In this white paper, we dive deeper into the state of blockchains and their smart contracts, why change is needed, and how Dark Fusion is poised to help the next generation of developers build the future of Web3 applications. Build the future. In our ILCA courses, we just covered Web3. Our 5-day challenge all week was about understanding Web3. Web3 is the next evolution of the internet. We had Web 1, we are currently using Web 2, and now Web 3, utilizing blockchain technology to make it possible, moving the internet into a decentralized internet where you own your own content. The power is now in the people's hands, not centralized services. So the state of today's blockchains. Without question, blockchains and distributed ledger technologies have changed the way millions live and have reshaped the technological landscape. Just a few years ago, the notion that they were permanent mainstays in our daily lives could be challenged. But now, for better or for worse, they are here to stay. This is why I figured this out. May 2017, blockchain technology will disrupt every, and I mean every, industry on the planet. They're here to stay. There's no going backwards now. The genie's out of the bottle. The industry has spawned over 9,000 actively traded tokens and NFT projects, representing over not 1 million, not 1 billion, 1 trillion in combined capital. With it, the chase to build and adapt better solutions for today's fast-growing technology marketplace has driven the development of faster, cheaper, more reliable, and developer-friendly distributed ledgers. So you have to think of the evolution, what's going to happen. When the internet first came out, you had David Letterman and all the rest in the early days making fun of it. Do you guys remember those days? Do you remember when people didn't understand what Bitcoin or what the internet was? Well, let me take you back. Take a look.
But, I think about this. And what about this internet thing? Do you know anything about that?
Sure.
What the hell is that exactly?
Well, it's become a place where people are publishing information.
Right.
So everybody can have their own homepage. Companies are there. The latest information. It's wild what's going on. You can send electronic mail to people. It is the big new thing.
Yeah, but it's easy to criticize something you don't fully understand, which is my position here.
Go ahead.
But I can remember a couple of months ago, there was like a big breakthrough announcement that on the internet or on some computer deal, they were going to broadcast a baseball game. You could listen to a baseball game on your computer. And I just thought to myself, does radio ring a bell? You know what I mean?
There's a difference.
There is a difference.
It's not a huge difference.
What is the difference?
You can listen to the baseball game whenever you want.
Right.
Too.
Oh, I see. So it's stored in one of your memory deals.
Exactly.
And then you can come back a year later.
You talked about earlier.
Yeah. Do tape recorders ring a bell? I just don't know. What can you, just knowing me the little you know me now, what am I missing here? What do I need?
Well, if you want to learn about the latest cigars or auto racing statistics.
Well, I've got that covered. I subscribe to 2 British magazines devoted entirely to motorsports, and I call the Quaker State Speed Line about 2 times a half hour. So now, would the computer give me more than I'm getting that way?
Well, you can find other people who have the same unusual interests you do. And
You mean the troubled loner chat room on the internet?
Absolutely.
I think one day I'll get one of these deals, but I've played with them, and then you type it in, and then you get that thing, that little arrow. Is that the arrow you
bet.
And then it's just, it's like, oh, I get it. It's an eye test. What do we?
Just think about that. Hindsight is everything. We all know what happened after that. The world can't turn without the internet today. And if you were a business and you did not integrate the internet into your business model, you went obsolete. You fast forward. We all heard of a company called BlackRock, Larry Fink, ETFs, $10 trillion now exposure. But let me just let you hear about what he said about blockchain and stuff just a few years ago.
Is it true that you're building out a cryptocurrency capability?
No. I mean, we're looking at it. We're looking at blockchain technologies, and we're looking at all the crypto.
Blockchain isn't crypto. Blockchain is just the underlying technology. Well, don't your clients want crypto exposure?
No, I don't believe any client has sought out crypto exposure.
Really?
Yes.
But at some point they might. Do you need to be prepared?
I don't, at the moment, no. I have not heard from anyone.
You hear that? That was just a few years ago. Things are going to be happening fast. Now, today, this technology is going to push the whole space much further into the future very, very, very quickly. So, despite these setbacks, Ethereum remains the most widely used blockchain by creators and developers. Its extensive infrastructure, ease of use, vast developer support network, and high degree of familiarity allow it to be the #1 chain for the time being. Still, participants trade these benefits for an arguably inferior user experience. And why? Because they don't have a choice. If there's only one burger spot in the city, that's the only place everybody's going to go to. There's no competition. They don't have a choice. But what if there was a choice? And it's a better choice. So the network's upgrades have only been incremental, with little to show in improving these user experiences. Enter Solana to try to answer the problem of Ethereum. Then there's Solana, a blockchain that launched 5 years after Ethereum in March of 2020. It promised fast transaction times, low cost, high reliability, and ease of development. And I was a heavy investor of Solana because of those promises. It's a seemingly unstoppable combination that, if successfully deployed, would enable it to dethrone Ethereum for good. Out the gate, the on-paper specs were impressive. Solana was theoretically capable of processing 710,000 transactions per second and reaching transaction finality in just 500 ms, making not only blisteringly fast, but essentially the fastest account-based ledger launched. Processing transactions on Solana is also exceedingly inexpensive, costing about 0.000125 cents per transaction. But when it launched, its real-world performance substantially lagged behind its development specifications, garnering an average of 4,000 transactions per second. But wait, hold up. They said 710,000 transactions per second. In actuality, it was 4,000 transactions per second. So it's like going to the dealership and you see the Lambo, and the Lambo's talking about 0 to 60 in 2.1 seconds. And you buy that Lambo for $350,000, if not more, take it home, gas up the engine, you're ready to go. And instead of you getting to 60 in 2.3 seconds, it takes 7.8 seconds to reach 60 miles per hour. Are you upset? It didn't do what was advertised. Still, of the most widely used blockchains, Solana was the fastest and the cheapest. So in other words, even though it did not reach what they promised it could do, it was still the fastest. And this is another teachable lesson that I tell people how I've been able to survive and thrive in the crypto market this long. It's so much volatility and all the different projects and scams and things. I always look at things like this. Whatever any project promises or their goal is to do, I always pretend like they're going to fail by 90%. And if you fail by 90%, the 10% success that you have, will that still make me in profit? And if the answer is yes, I move forward with it, albeit cautiously. So even though they failed dramatically in what they promised, it still, at the time, was the fastest and cheapest, making it a contender in the competitive blockchain landscape. But there's another but. Solana proved difficult. And let me also tell you, I have not read this white paper yet. I want to do this with you guys. So I have not read this yet. But Solana proved difficult to build on, utilizing Rust as its core smart contract programming language, a less familiar and more challenging language typically used by professional developers. This affected its adoption. And even with the fuel of the bull market of 2021, there are less than 400 projects built on the chain. Wow. Since 2021? Wow. So people, they stuck with Ethereum. But so when Solana mentions they are doing 4K TPS, just know less than 10% are actual transactions on the network. Okay. But perhaps the largest issue that has plagued Solana is its apparent lack of reliability. The blockchain has counted a dozen outages, with 11 major and 3 minor, according to CryptoSlate, in 2022 alone. This just happened last week. They were down last week. In February of 2023, the network suffered an outage that lasted nearly 19 hours. The same article highlights a massive design flaw involving validator messages that stuffed the network, representing some 95% of all transactions that it's almost like a DDoS attack on themselves, bogs down the system. Its association with Sam Bankman-Fried. Really? Did I know that? SBF was associated with Solana? Hasn't been ideal either. Its token SOL crashed in the price after FTX went under, as many questioned the fate of the 58 million SOL held, oh yeah, okay, I remember that, by Alameda Research, one of Bankman-Fried's investment entities. Of the top 10 chains, it is down 92%. It's from its all-time high, compared with 66% for Ethereum and 62% for Bitcoin. Bitcoin, strong brand, but little adoption. Bitcoin, arguably, it's not arguably, it is the most well-known blockchain, is also the oldest, having launched nearly 15 years ago. Besides its brand recognition, it boasts several accolades, including the largest market cap by a long shot, being more, let me just see the proof of this. Bitcoin's market cap right now is almost $1 trillion, 928 billion. Who comes in second? Ethereum, 299 billion. Who comes in third? BNB, 49 billion. And then Solana, and then Ripple. Ripple's only at 28 billion. Look at all this untapped money. 928 billion. So, I'm over here. It is also the most active blockchain by monthly active addresses, nearly tripling that of Ethereum, while being less than 1/4 of the base transaction fee. Innovation continues to occur on the blockchain. At the beginning of 2023, Ordinals launched, making it possible to label and inscribe Satoshis, Bitcoin's smallest unit of measurement, with metadata essentially creating the first NFTs on the Bitcoin blockchain. What? Now, last year, when Vara was introducing to us to Darfusion, they said, even on its website, the first real NFTs, because if you understand how NFTs work right now, the NFTs are not actually on the blockchain, only addresses pointing to where the Ethereums are, or the NFTs are. With this technology, these NFTs are actually on the Bitcoin blockchain. Ordinals are unique in that they do not require the use of smart contract code and do not require a new token or collection to be created. From this, a new token standard called BRC20. So you may hear of Ethereum as ERC20. Well, Bitcoin now has its own. BRC20 was created in March of 2023. That is less than a year ago. So you talk about, again, timing is everything. Being the first, brand new. Yeah, Mr. Long, you did hear him say, he says some form of an iPad. But anyways, this is less than a year old. So think of, okay, I didn't hear about Bitcoin in 2009, but you got in on it in 2010. Where would you be today? I knew about Bitcoin for the first time in 2010, and I did nothing. As creative as these new projects are, they are merely ingenious workarounds to Bitcoin's limited technical architecture. Because they still leverage the network's infrastructure, they run into the same scaling concerns that are inherent to Bitcoin and may suffer from the effects of network congestion and high fees should they gain traction and popularity. Without any major technological breakthrough, Bitcoin risks being relegated to an investment currency. Bitcoin is sometimes called blockchain 1.0, just like Web 1.0, because it was the first to launch and, like most first iterations, lacking in features. For example, Bitcoin's lack of any native smart contract capabilities results in a very limited world of decentralized and third-party applications running on its network. As such, few projects choose to innovate on the platform, negating the advantage of its long-standing recognition and low competition. Blockchains, an imperfect solution. Blockchains are at best a compromise in their commitment to supporting the trustless transfer of digital assets between two or more parties. They must contend with bulky and inefficient processes. Consensus. Blockchains and other distributed ledgers need a Byzantine fault-tolerant proofing mechanism for multiple parties to agree on a specific outcome. This often requires the coordination of thousands of validators, requiring heavyweight code and uptime. Immutability. To create a permanent state chain of information, data must be appended in discrete blocks or data sets. This must be done in an organized, agreeable, but time-consuming way. Also, from a development perspective, immutability presents a problem, as software needs to be updated, patched, and maintained to be in its most ideal state. Immutability prevents this from happening. Congestion. Because of the above, many blockchains have to contend with an overflow of parties wanting to transact. This is what causes backlogs with Bitcoin. For example, sometimes a Bitcoin transaction can happen in minutes. Other times it could take 24 hours. So resulting in a backlog of transaction requests that end up in a mempool. The orderly processing of these requests can substantially delay transactions or cause transaction fees to rise as parties compete for priority. This is why you don't have Bitcoin transactions in the grocery store. So you don't have just a Bitcoin card that is transacting just in Bitcoin that you go to the grocery store, because if you do that and the grocery store is actually receiving your Bitcoin, you might have to take 2 or 3 minutes standing there waiting for the transaction to get confirmed. Now you got a long line behind you of people thinking you're writing a check. I mean, how many of you, every time I see somebody pull out a checkbook, I'm like, oh man, we're going to be here for a minute. But you say, well, wait a minute, Brandon, people are using Bitcoin cards all the time, Visa. Yeah, because at point of sale, they are transferring Bitcoin into fiat money. So the merchant is not getting Bitcoin, they're getting cash. Finality. When transactions occur on most major blockchains, the probability of a fraudulent or malfeasant transaction is highest immediately after the transaction is processed. Over time, and with each new block appended to a chain, the probability that the transaction is reversed or fraudulent declines. What does this mean? Well, you ever heard of, well, we don't approve the transaction until there has been multiple approvals on the blockchain. So most of it on Bitcoin is just 3. More advanced may say they need at least maybe 17 or more. So that means all of the miners out there, the master nodes, is confirming your transaction and recording it. So once 3 has done it, then they allow the transaction to go through. It's not just 1. So blockchains need time to reduce the probability of fraud to near zero. So what if there's technology that these confirmations happen in milliseconds and not minutes or hours over time, but almost by the time you blink, it's done. So this time may be expressed in a minimum number of block confirmations to finalize a transaction, further delaying the receipt of funds. Since blockchains have a transaction throughput that is less than their backlog during peak usage, a transaction fee market must be established to prioritize transactions. In exceptionally busy periods, as parties pay more to prioritize their transactions, fees may escalate rapidly. Those who are unwilling to pay these high fees risk timing out and having their transaction dropped from the protocol. During Yuga Labs, the other side mint, transaction fees on the Ethereum blockchain spiked to over $1,000 per transaction. Wow. Leading to a poor user experience and substantial loss of funds by participating parties. When transaction fees are artificially set too low, as in the case of Solana, spamming by bots becomes a problem, resulting in degraded performance and outages. Ultimately, these processes exist because blockchains are public, trustless, and distributed. Their unique nature provides an invaluable tool for parties to transact safely and anonymously, but at a compromise to what an ideal transfer mechanism should be for digital assets. For certain type of transactions, these bulky, costly, and time-consuming features can be eliminated while still enabling users to safely and securely transact among other parties. However, blockchains are still a necessary step in enabling transactions to be finalized and publicly auditable. Thus, an ideal solution leverages the benefits of an immutable ledger while enabling the public transfer and processing of digital assets in a scalable, low cost, and fast framework. And guys, for those of you on Facebook, you can feel free to share this in your crypto groups because this is the future of Bitcoin. You think people might want to know about it? If you're a part of other groups, you might want to be the first to let them know. Smart contracts and blockchains. Smart contracts have proven to be the gateway for developers to create a diverse and fast-growing collection of applications. However, the original smart contract was designed as an instrument of the blockchain, enabling programs stored on a blockchain to execute when certain on-chain conditions are met. This leads to an important issue with smart contracts, that they are built upon and thus inherent all of the inefficiency and issues of the chains they are hosted on. So if you've got smart contracts hosted on Solana, that means you're going to suffer from outages, design flaws, and everything else that has nothing to do with your program, but you're built on a faulty blockchain. So if you're going to create, if you want your business to be tokenized, to have a blockchain presence for long-term stability, you want to make sure your company is on the right blockchain. And which one is that? Is it Solana? Is it Ethereum? What about Bitcoin? Infeasible to fix. For example, blockchains are immutable, append-only ledgers, and their contracts are designed with the same principle. While this design might be acceptable to very specific use cases, over time it has proven to be a substantial design flaw. Case in point, the Parity wallet hack of 2017. Parity is a wallet software company created by Ethereum co-founder Gavin Andresen. Despite nearly unlimited expertise and resources, Parity shipped with a bug that was eventually exploited by a hacker, effectively preventing all multi-sig wallets on the platform from transacting, blocking some $890 million in Ethereum from being transferred. An issue that remains unresolved today, because the idea of the smart contract in its current case was both good and bad. It was like a double-edged sword, because once the smart contract is programmed, that's it. It's like wet cement. But if you do that on a faulty network, on a faulty blockchain, you can't amend it. You can't what's the word? What's the word I want to use? Upgrade it. The United States Constitution. People act like it was written by God. I mean, word for word, we have strict constructionalists that we got to abide by every single word on how it was written, but that was 1870 something. So I'm sorry, what was it ratified? 1776. But here's the problem. We don't live like we did back in 1776 or 1800 or 1865. Things have changed. So we have amendments to the Constitution. With the current way the smart contracts are, you're not able to do that. So here's a problem. We still have 513,000 Ether locked up. Nobody can touch. It's expensive to run. Over the course of time, the popularity of the crypto industry sparked new innovation that has tested the limits of current smart contract technologies. On blockchains such as Ethereum, transaction fees are a function of the size of the smart contract itself, meaning more complicated contracts such as NFT minting contracts cost more to execute. As the number and complexity of contracts in each application increased, so too did their operating costs. Not all smart contracts are as expensive as others. Contracts run on BNB Smart Chain are in order of magnitude less expensive to run compared with Ethereum, despite being an EVM monologue. In other words, BNB is using the same contract language as Ethereum, but it's cheaper to use the BNB's version than Ethereum. But the BNB Smart Chain gives up distribution and decentralization. Why? Because BNB is a company, Binance. To achieve this, and operates at a far lower volume, so it's centralized. Solana is yet another order of magnitude less expensive to run. However, the artificially low transaction fees have led to bot-induced congestion, leading to outages. As the saying goes, you can't have your cake and eat it too, until now. Inability to scale. The scaling debate is often poorly understood by developers. Some point to Solana's high transaction throughput as evidence that chains can be built to scale. But one must understand that scalability is inversely correlated with the need for a public, trustless, and consistency-driven model. Non-public ledgers that run on centralized databases, such as those operated by credit card companies, can scale without issue, as they do not rely on a bulky and inefficient consensus mechanism, or need an immutable ledger the public can scrutinize. Even though Solana can handle more transactions and process them faster than most public chains, it has its own issues that are correlated with design compromises to achieve this goal. Smart contracts built on current public blockchains simply cannot scale sufficiently to the needs of all applications, especially those involving a high number of transactions, such as global payment gateways. Thus, they are ultimately limited in their capability, handicapping developers. Difficult to learn. Currently, no language standard exists for which smart contracts are developed and built. As a result, fragmentation is prevalent in the industry, making the already difficult task of learning an entirely new development paradigm more complicated. Developers creating smart contract code on Ethereum will note that the base language is Solidity, a coding standard that is similar to JavaScript. Think about JavaScript in the early internet days. Solidity is that early JavaScript for smart contracts with Ethereum and beyond. But those creating program libraries on Solana need to be proficient in Rust, an entirely different language, while developers experimenting with smart contracts on Cardano, the second biggest contract-enabled chain by market cap, must be knowledgeable in Haskell, an infrequently used development language. Since the public knowledge base of Solidity is so vast, developers naturally gravitate towards learning to build on the Ethereum virtual machine, oftentimes without really knowing how vulnerable such contracts are to exploits. In other words, they don't have a choice. How costly and efficient contracts can be, and ultimately, the limitations of smart contracts for most applications. While the intent of the smart contract is with merit, it was designed for a specific purpose with today's varied applications and use cases. The original architecture is simply unsuitable for current needs, let alone the next generation of blockchain applications and technologies. Enter Dark Fusion. So Dark Fusion has engineered the first major breakthrough in infrastructure on the Bitcoin blockchain in years. Through years of research and development, this wasn't just created overnight. We've created simple contract language, the first smart contract modeling language designed for compatibility with the Bitcoin blockchain and other UTXOs. Smart contracts and blockchains. Today, our understanding of smart contracts is based on nearly a decade of legacy implementations where smart contract frameworks have traditionally been packaged and built into a native blockchain solution. The original belief was that smart contracts would be limited to processing transactions based on certain on-chain conditions. The original examples were basic condition-based processes where digital assets were transferred upon an agreement of conditions and rules, such as through votes on a DAO. There's that word, DAO, Decentralized Autonomous Organization. And guess what? A week from today, on the next Crypto Talk, I'm going to be doing one of my own lessons for the entire Vara community. And it's going to be, what are DAOs? Since VRX is moving into a DAO-based model, a DAO-based system, you need to know exactly what that is. What is a DAO? What does it mean? So when you hear these showcases, you're not like, huh, I don't get it. You will be excited about what's going on. You got to know about it. Education is key. So a week from today, same time as I'm doing this, we're going to cover a lesson on DAOs. So however, we quickly saw developers using smart contracts to process on-chain transactions using off-chain data, as in the case of escrow contracts, resulting in the need for oracles. Over time, smart contracts began to evolve far beyond their design, demonstrating their limitations. So SCL is a first, again, there's that word, first, smart contract modeling language that is UTXO chain and layer agnostic. Think of it as a smart contract as a service, where the coding standard and framework can be deployed on nearly any distributed ledger technology. We disrupt the paradigm where smart contracts are prepackaged products of a distributed ledger by decoupling this technology from a native blockchain solution and offering it as a standalone framework. We initially demonstrate SCL's significant breakthrough using the Bitcoin network. However, SCL can operate on any first, second, third, or higher order UTXO layer solution as an independent smart contract coding standard, providing it nearly unlimited potential use cases, including cross-chain integrations. We imagine a future where new distributed ledger technologies no longer need to create and model their own smart contract solutions, but instead focus on developing the best possible tech and simply bolting on Dark Fusion SCL, cutting development times while gaining SCL's quickly growing community of developers and projects. Do you realize how important that statement is there? Let's go back to the 90s. If you were an early adopter of the internet in those early days, not only did you have to focus on your own business and your product, but you had to build out the technology so that your business can be on the internet. It wasn't as easy as it is today. And so what they did was, at that time, you had these early geniuses who knew how to build websites. And they would just build crazy websites, and Fortune 500 companies would pay them $50 million for it, or $500 million for it, or hire them for $25 million to build them a website. Now, anybody can build a website because there are programs out there that you just plug and play, like Wix. There's templates. So you don't have to know the programming language. You just plug in what you need and what you want. So for the very first time ever in blockchain's history, there is now a service that is allowing other businesses and companies to be tokenized on the create a smart contracts without having to know and build their own development language. They're using SCL. That right there, your brain should be exploding. How can I be a part of this? How can I be positioned so I can ride the train? Because when other companies figure it out and they realize, oh, we could just use Dark Fusion, SCL, instead of trying to figure out Ethereum and EVM and all that stuff and Solidity. So benefits of SCL: current smart contract technologies embedded in its native layer, i.e. a single layer. Dark Fusion is layer independent. The old one, limited by block times, which is slow. Dark Fusion, not limited to block times, which is fast. Now, I want to sidebar for 1 second. How is that possible? Because I had to give a visual, because I was trying to explain this to my mom, and she wasn't getting it. So I use this as a visual. Think of a freeway, and on that freeway you have different lanes. You've got the slow lane, you've got the fast lane. The Bitcoin blockchain is running on the slow lane, so nothing happens until those transactions are approved. Then it can go, but it moves slow. But you can't speed it up. So there's been fights in the past between the likes of Craig Wright and other Bitcoin developers on how to improve this. And when the miners couldn't agree, you had forks. Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV, ABC. They share the same history, but they went in a different direction. Instead, what the Bitcoin Lightning Network does is say, we are using Bitcoin's protocol, but instead of doing transactions on the Bitcoin blockchain, we're going to do their transactions separately. So now it's not bogged down, and we're going to batch all the transactions and then send it to the Bitcoin blockchain. So instead of it being one transaction each, Bitcoin is getting a block of them in one transaction. And it's not slowing down the fast lane. So SCL is in the fast lane. Bitcoin is in the slow lane. And SCL is sending all the transactions in packets, batches, to the Bitcoin network and still keeping it moving. So all of those dark fusions were being recorded here. And once they're batched together, they're sent over to the Bitcoin blockchain to be recorded on. Does that make sense? I mean, if that makes sense, type me in the chat box. Type Y in the chat box. Daryl says, are Vara folks getting a piece of this? Yes! Because Vara folks are the validators. The validators are being rewarded from the transaction fees. That's what we should have 100,000 people already over here right now. The reason why we don't is because most people don't understand it. They don't know why. They don't see it yet. Everybody should have an access key right now. I'm doing my best. I'm doing my part. All right. So I hope you get that correlation. So Bitcoin's not being hampered at all. All of this is happening in the fast lane, and those transactions are being batched and sent to the slow lane. Limited by block data sizes, can't scale. Dark Fusion is not limited to block data sizes and organically scalable. Bitcoin data redundant. Every full node has a copy of every smart contract. That's inefficient. Data only redundant within the community using that data. Efficient. So it's like, I mean, why are they needing to record your copy over here? They have nothing to do with you. We got it. That's what the whole Lightning Network allows you to do. It allows you to, what's the word I'm going to use? Compartmentalize. They're both decentralized. They're both independently verifiable. However, on the Bitcoin side, it's immutable. Contracts can't be changed. That is where SCL says this is mutable. Contracts are edible. So if there is an issue that needs to be patched, fixed, upgraded, amended, SCL allows them to do that. The old system requires learning new specific coding language. The new system, the coding language is agnostic. You don't need to learn the new language. It's already done for you. Dark Fusion's SCL provides several important benefits not possible with current smart contract technologies. Layer independent. SCL is chain agnostic and not bound to a native blockchain, which is a layer 1. Like other smart contract implementations, contracts built using SCL have the ability to interact with and witness transactions on any layer, such as layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, and onward, greatly expanding the depth of its functionality. Not limited by block times. Since SCL is an independent and distinct smart contract technology, it is not bound to a native blockchain layer. Thus, does not need to contend with slow blockchains and finality. SCL can run on virtually any distributed ledger technology, including second and third layer implementations. When running on the Lightning Network, transactions occur nearly instantaneously. not limited by block data sizes. By being decoupled from a native blockchain layer, SCL no longer inherits its design choices, such as block data sizes, enabling true scalability that isn't constrained by an underlying public blockchain. Data efficient. Data no longer needs to be propagated to an entire network of thousands of nodes. Data is as distributed and redundant as the parties who use the data desire, eliminating the need for time-consuming data propagation protocols. Decentralized. While SCL avoids the inefficiencies of native blockchain layers because it eventually settles transactions back to layer 1, it receives all of the benefits of decentralization built into the underlying blockchain layer. Transparent. Smart contracts and their applications can be independently verified and audited as needed. Mutable. Smart contracts can be updated, fixed, patched, and upgraded without losing security and integrity, leading to a substantially better user experience and improved project optics. Mutability also reduces developer fatigue and stress and enables a project to launch sooner into the market while avoiding costless and time-consuming rounds of auditing. That is huge. That was the problem that freaking Terra Luna had. And I tell people in my crypto classes, when you see a new project, you always want to look at, is this creating a smart contract? Show me your audit, and not internal audit, a third-party audit, an outside auditor, professional. The thing is that they're not cheap. The cheapest I've seen is $20,000 to $25,000 to do. And for a new project that's just trying to get launched, they might not have the funds to do all that, so they kind of skip it. And that brings a lot of risk. With this technology, there's no need for it anymore. Coding language agnostic. SCL is designed to be built, and you say, well, Brendan, why is it needed? Because it's agnostic. The coding has already been done. It's not being rebuilt every single time. SCL is designed to be built on any standard development language, enabling existing software developers to gain rapid context and thus greatly shortening a project's time to market. Using mainstream software language also means SCL contracts have the potential to be more secure, as developers are not learning a new language on the fly while building sensitive code. Examples of language supported include JavaScript, C++, Python, Java, C, Rust for Solana, C++, Golang, Dart, PHP, and more. So how does it work? Okay, now, as I go through this, I am not the techie. So there may be some things I don't understand. So I'm just giving a heads up right now, but I will try my best because it's the nerd language stuff. I go over my head. You must say, Brandon, you've been talking nerd language all day. Yes and no. But now we're going to get into this. So the technology stack, we've got the DF product suite, token standard, trade, wallet, explorer. We got third-party dApps, NFTs, games, tokens, and apps. Combined, they're going to use simple smart contract language, Bitcoin, Lightning, and other UTXO-based chains. Okay. The key breakthrough in SCL's design is its decoupling from an inefficient public distributed ledger. To this day, smart contracts have always been directly linked and integrated with the native blockchain layer. By disrupting this long-standing paradigm, Dark Fusion transforms the way Web3 applications are built, greatly adding efficiency, scalability, reliability, and low cost in the process. SCL is a layer-independent smart contract modeling language that can operate and execute on layer 1 and layer 2 UTXO solutions, such as the Bitcoin network and Lightning Labs Lighting Network coming in the future. Ultimately, finality is always settled to layer 1, as is the standard of the Bitcoin Lightning Network, which in turn gives us certain cryptographic guarantees about the state of our assets. By operating in this way, SCL inherits the inefficiency and scalability of the network solution it is executing on, while gaining the benefits of the decentralization and distribution of its underlying blockchain, leveraging the very best of both worlds and passing through these benefits to third-party dApps and the Dark Fusion product suite. UTXO as cryptographic seals, Bitcoin unspent transaction outputs have the unique property of behaving as single-use cryptographic seals. Using this property, we can create trustless asset transfer secured by the Bitcoin blockchain. Native hosting. Traditional smart contracts are hosted and executed on their native blockchains. This adds significant bloat to their networks, especially when smart contracts are used to store data. Since the theoretical limit of data storage on an EVM smart contract is extremely high, things can get out of hand fairly quickly. Currently, Ethereum's full node sync archival size is at a staggering 15.2 terabytes. As these values continue to scale linearly, blockchains are in need of an efficient solution. With SCL decoupled from a native blockchain, contract code and data payloads are no longer stored on-chain, greatly reducing their bloat. However, contract code and any data stores must then be stored elsewhere. Dark Fusion handles this by implementing a data hosting solution within its ecosystem. Both Dark Fusion hosted and third-party decentralized validators store this data to process SCL transactions that are executed on their machines. All right, let me ask you guys this question. You still with me so far? Type Dark Fusion in the chat box. You guys just follow along with this. Type in Dark Fusion in the chat box. So the Dark Fusion product suite. Through the creation of this novel smart contract technology, Dark Fusion has developed a suite of complementary products to enable developers to instantly onboard into our ecosystem. That is huge because time is everything for businesses. The faster you can come to market, the more profitable you're going to be. The Dark Fusion product suite provides a turnkey solution to allow adopters of SCL to have a base foundation of software tools to launch their products. So the core technology, we've got simple contract language, SCL token standard, SCL trade, Fusion One wallet, and the Fusion One block explorer. So the SCL token standard. SCL token standard, as the name implies, is a token standard written in SCL that allows projects that build on SCL to quickly mint and deploy their tokens. I've already seen, well, I've heard, I haven't done it yet or seen it, but I've heard people have already been creating their own tokens with the SCL, the web wallet. I haven't done any of that stuff just yet. So the SCL token standard is the first deployable token standard compatible with the Bitcoin blockchain that utilizes a familiar smart contract framework to create tokens. Thank you. This provides SCL tokens substantially more development capability and features when compared to other token standards, BRC20, which is based on ordinal inscriptions and thus limited to basic mint and transfer functions. Tokens created using the SCL token standard also do not pollute the Bitcoin blockchain with additional block capacity demands, strain on the mempool, and higher fees, such as is in the case of other token standards. Now, I'm not even going to go to this. An example of a basic tokens creation contract provided below. Yeah, I'm not. Look at all that. Now, let's talk about the Fusion One wallet. Fusion One wallet is a decentralized wallet software that is designed to enable tokens created by the SCL token standard to be safely transacted with and stored. Users can send and receive SCL tokens as well as other UTXO tokens, such as Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Dash, and others between users. So when you have the international group has seen this already. Those of you that got the Yield Pro. SEL Trade. SEL Trade functionality within the web wallet plugin is designed to allow users to trade seamlessly between SEL-based assets on layer 1 and layer 2 coming later. The SEL trading functionality built within the web wallet ushers a new era of decentralized token trading on the Bitcoin blockchain. Like all Dark Fusion products, it is designed for performance, executing and routing transactions in mere minutes. SEL Trade is designed to complement the SEL token standard, creating the important infrastructure to enable projects to safely deploy their SEL created tokens while allowing their users to trade these tokens. In the Fusion One wallet, there will be an initial default swap rate set at 0.20% per trade. The Dark Fusion Foundation further has additional products in the pipeline, like the OTC desk, over-the-counter desk, allowing block buy of BTC in a peer-to-peer manner. Oh, that's big. I didn't know that. So now you can buy Bitcoin in blocks. So people always say they want to be able to do big transactions, but the cost is always high when you're doing that. Oh, wow. Okay. And they can do that if it's decentralized. Wow. I just had another aha moment. Bidding, listing, and buying. Fusion One Explorer. That's this right here, the Fusion One Explorer. Fusion One Explorer is Dark Fusion's version of a blockchain explorer like Blockshare or Blockstream, with the exception that Fusion One Explorer is specifically designed to enable parties to view current and past transactions executed using SCL. Fusion One Explorer will initially be developed to support the viewing of transactions on SCL, but may eventually support any public SCL transaction running on any chain or layer. Oh, that's going to be big. The following are states that are reported and visible on Fusion One Explorer. You can see the transaction hash, transaction number, sender address, receiver address, value transfer denominated in DFG with USD fee estimate, token name, contract method, transaction status, token details, max supply, holders, total transfers, contract code, token contract addresses, and support for NFTs. So when we look at it, you see it here. You got the DFG Dark Fusion gas address. You can put in any hash here to look it up. The price of DFG, how many holders, all the transactions, circulating supply. Wow. In the details of every transaction that's taken place. If I go back to the main page for this, all of the 96 contracts already. They already got 96 contracts? Dang. Nobody even knows what this is yet. Current DFG price. Okay. So the market cap is at 5.6 Bitcoin. Yeah, nobody. This is super early. Nobody knows what this is yet. Oops, this one. So why Bitcoin? Although SCL is ultimately designed to be abstracted for any particular distributed ledger technology or second layer solution, Dark Fusion has made the decision to launch SCL as a Bitcoin blockchain product. Now, you may say, well, wait a minute. We heard you guys did Polygon before. SCL can be done on any blockchain. And the Polygon network couldn't handle it. So that's why they chose, let's make sure we can do it on Bitcoin. We believe Bitcoin represents the most ideal candidate for launch, as it is substantially less crowded than other blockchains, reducing noise and competition. Furthermore, we expect Bitcoin to increase its lead in consumer brand recognition as new ETF products make their way onto the US and global financial markets. This familiarity should help drive the adoption of new Web3 products. Hey, well, you guys were wondering why I've been covering Web3. I'm talking about my ILCA community. Web3 products created by developers on the Bitcoin network using SCL and the Dark Fusion suite of products. Bitcoin has also demonstrated a reawakening as a new frontier for developers. Well-executed Bitcoin improvement proposals such as Taproot have enabled parties to develop novel inscription techniques to store unique metadata directly into the smallest unit of Bitcoin called the Satoshi. Ordinals does exactly this, and the BRC20 token standard evolved shortly thereafter using the Ordinals standard. While we see these improvements as trivial from the perspective of true smart contract functionality of the Bitcoin protocol, we note that their rapid uptake and participation by the community provide evidence that the demand is there. And the whole Ordinals thing took off last year. You know, we're only about 1 year. Bitcoin is also supported by an important second layer solution called the Lightning Network. That is perhaps one of the best developed and most mature iterations of the technology in the market. SCL is designed to leverage Bitcoin's UTXO topology by using these transactions as single-use cryptographic seals to which SCL transactions can utilize for public settlement and finality. When used in combination with the Lightning Network, off-chain transactions. So let me go back to the freeway example. All of the SCL stuff is being off-chain transactions, being recorded here, and then being sent to the Bitcoin network as on-chain in batches. The Lightning Network allows that ability because it has it's this word, single use. So it's not just every transaction in the block. It's just we've got it compartmentalized in single use cases. I got to find a better way to explain that and make it visual. I get it. But anyways, in combination with the Lightning Network, off-chain transactions can occur seamlessly and efficiently without congesting the Bitcoin network, while benefiting from the high throughput and processing speed that is endemic to a layer 2 solution like the Lightning Network. Lightning Network, new legs for Bitcoin. All right. So, okay, I like this type of stuff. Comparison. We got Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and then the Lightning Network. Average transaction, Bitcoin, 3 transactions per second. Ethereum, 13. Solana, 4,000. This is why even though Solana failed in the 400,000 transactions per second, it's only 4,000, but it's still better than the rest. Lightning Network, 1 million. So those of you who have seen me do the Vara presentations, and I show you the slide, that this technology is bringing a 97% reduction in server costs, allowing for the ability to have the same cost of having 1 user on Netflix, 341 users using Dark Fusion technology. This is why. Is there a difference between 4,000 and 1 million? So if you're a business, are you going to jump on Solana, Ethereum, or are you going to use the new system? Basic transaction cost. Bitcoin, 99 cents. Ethereum, $4.56. Solana, 0.000125. That's very good. Lightning Network, 0.000137. They're about a match there. But far more transactions taking place, which means far more money is being made. Transaction time. Bitcoin can be 10 minutes. Ethereum, 13 seconds. Solana, 2.5 seconds. Bitcoin Lightning Network is milliseconds. Like I said, blink of an eye, less than that. Now you can go to the grocery store and do transactions like this because it's instantaneous. Number of unique wallet addresses. Bitcoin, 144 million. Ethereum, 240 million. So why does Ethereum have more wallet addresses than Bitcoin? Because Ethereum allows you to scale on it, and Bitcoin never did until now. Solana, 39.75 million. And look, the Lightning Network, there's only 1 million right now. Nobody knows of it yet. Still brand new. Number of smart contracts deployed. Bitcoin, none. Ethereum, 44 million. Solana, 100,000. Nothing on the Lightning Network yet. That's why we're here. Monthly active addresses. Bitcoin, 29.48 million. Ethereum, 11.18 million. Solana, 8.32 million. Lightning Network, 68,000. Market cap. Bitcoin, 507 billion. It's more than that now. It's almost double that now. Ethereum, 199 billion. Solana, 8.46 billion. Lightning, 150 million. So this is, again, how would you like to go back when Bitcoin first got started? That's what's happening again right here. Number of projects supported. Less than 20 on Bitcoin. 3,000 plus Ethereum. 395 Solana. 300 plus Lightning Network. Total recorded outages. I stand corrected. I thought that there was never an outage on Bitcoin. I'm going to have to go back. When did this occur? 2, Ethereum 3, Solana 17 plus more, and Lightning Network none. Type, Bitcoin is a UTXO blockchain, Ethereum account-based blockchain, Solana account-based blockchain, Lightning Network layer 2. Degree of decentralization. Bitcoin high, Ethereum medium, Solana low, Lightning Network medium. Base currency, Bitcoin is BTC, Ethereum ETH, Solana Sol, Lightning Network Satoshis. Years in the market, Bitcoin 14, Ethereum 8, Solana 4, Lightning Network 4. Okay, the Bitcoin network gained a huge evolutionary advantage in 2015 with the advent of the Lightning Network by Lightning Labs. The Lightning Network is a layer 2 solution that allows two parties to open off-chain payment channels between each other. These payment channels can send and receive an unlimited number of transactions with minimal costs. Channels are closed when the two parties agree that a payment or series of payments are complete and the channel is no longer needed. This results in a final state being updated and propagated down to the underlying native blockchain layer, such as Bitcoin. In this way, multiple payments can be performed with just the cost of a single update on the mainnet, greatly reducing congestion and cost while improving transaction times and throughput. SCL's implementation on the Lightning Network proves our thesis that smart contract frameworks can be decoupled from an underlying blockchain layer, allowing them to run efficiently at scale and thereby opening up possibilities for vast future use cases previously infeasible with current smart contract paradigms. Because of the design of the network, transactions occur quickly and inexpensively as they are no longer processed on the Bitcoin mainnet. These benefits are evident when comparing Lightning Network specifications against other existing decentralized networks. The use of the Lightning Network by Dark Fusion provides us the ability to bring new frameworks and software tools to the Bitcoin network, vastly improving the potential for future innovation. Validators and nodes. Validators and nodes are an integral part of the Dark Fusion ecosystem and its supporting infrastructure. They enable developer-created SCL contracts to execute, run, and settle nearly instantaneously. Validators can earn fees for processing and hosting swaps on the SCL trade, providing computing resources, contract hosting, and maintaining state channels on behalf of the Dark Fusion protocol users. And guess what? Who's a validator on this network? Anybody that's got the Fusion One decentralized app on their phone. Say what? Yes. Anyone who's got the Fusion 1 decentralized app on their phone is a validator. Governance. A robust governance mechanism is one of the most critical aspects of any decentralized project. As Dark Fusion has allocated a substantial portion of the total token supply, 15%, to the Dark Fusion DAO, a governance mechanism is critical to the decision-making necessary to direct these funds towards future growth and the overall benefit of the Dark Fusion ecosystem. The Dark Fusion governance mechanism will be implemented in 3 phases, allowing it to move from a centralized governance model to a fully decentralized one through a gradual and deliberate progression of phases. You saw them talk about this in the showcase a little bit yesterday. So the standard governance protocol comprises 3 steps. Solicitation of interest. Dark Fusion representatives will work with the team and release governance proposals on the community forum. Improvement proposal. The community will vote on the proposal with the result being achieved upon consensus. Implementation. The final step will be the implementation of recommendations and improvements indicated in the proposal. The use of the DAO treasury funds is dictated by these steps, as well as general DAO decision-making, such as suggestions to improve the product or address any ecosystem issues. It is critical to understand that this is a proposed initial governance structure that will evolve through community interactions and voting over time. If I continue to play that Larry Fink video, at the end, he says, "I can't wait for the day for all assets in the world, financial assets, to be tokenized. And because in this DAO environment, I don't have to vote. Everybody has a say. It's democratizing the system." The proposed governance structure is based on our best interpretation of an initial strategy, but is subject to change based on the input and feedback within our community. This is also important because Bitcoin, when you read the Bitcoin white paper, the way Bitcoin ended up being used was not the way it was originally designed. The people decided how to use it. The people decided that Bitcoin was going to be used as a store of value rather than as a digital form of transactions for day-to-day stuff. It became digital gold. It wasn't written to be that way, but the people used it that way. So by using a DAO like this, the people can take this technology and say, you know what? There's other things we can do with this. Let's vote to go in a certain direction and we can end up bringing even more money. So phase 1, centralized. Platform is designed, built, and executed by a centralized team. Governance standards, legal entities, and corporate structure are defined by a centralized team. That's the Dark Fusion team right now, powered by Fusion 1. Phase 2, partially decentralized. Platform is continuously improved and maintained by a centralized team. Certain regions may have input and development by decentralized third-party teams. Proposal making is implemented, allowing individuals to propose and vote, but veto capability is retained by the platform. And then phase 3 is decentralized. What I don't know is the timetable on this. From the interview yesterday, I think it was talking about a 2 to 4 year time frame, if I'm not mistaken. But I was really on the VRX side, so I don't know if that applies on the DFG side. So platform maintenance, transition to decentralized team and or foundation, decision making through decentralized committee, all proposals, votes performed by token holders with no centralized authority or rule maker. The DFG token. The Dark Fusion gas is a limited supply Bitcoin native utility token of the Dark Fusion protocol, integral for unlocking validators within the network. As a native issuance on the Dark Fusion platform, DFG utilizes the robust Bitcoin Layer 1 infrastructure through the SCL, Simple Contract Language token standards. Complementing this, Dark Fusion introduces a decentralized wallet, streamlining the management of DFG tokens. Future iterations will enable DFG transactions across various UTXO chains at Layer 1 and across state channels at Layer 2. setting the stage for seamless cross-chain atomic swaps. Transaction fees. All trades on the Fusion One wallet will have a fixed 0.2% swap fee. Fee collections are routed to Dark Fusion's internal treasury. Fees from the internal treasury are then distributed to validators. Governance. The Dark Fusion Foundation is responsible for the issuance of tokens, earmarking a portion for foundation-driven initiatives like marketing and community development. Token holders have the capacity to propose and influence decisions through a voting mechanism, shaping the direction and application of foundation grants. These tokens are managed within the DAO treasury. Please see the token economics paper. Oh yeah, so that token economics paper is this. And I'll be going over this sometime. Wow, dang, if I'm doing the DAOs next Saturday, I might have to do this during the week. Maybe in place of one of the presentations that I do. I'll have to think about that. Sources of revenue. To support the continued development, enhancement, and maintenance of SCL and the Dark Fusion product suite, Dark Fusion will earn fees for providing resources to the ecosystem. 1, validator fees. Dark Fusion will deploy the first set of validators to process transactions and host data. It earns validator fees for doing so. SCL trade swap fees. All trades on the Fusion One wallet will have a fixed 0.2% swap fee. Fee collections are routed to Dark Fusion's internal treasury. This is ultimately where they're probably going to make the most money. Trading and swapping. How did Sam Bankman-Fried become a billionaire in 2 years? How did CZ from Binance become a multi-billionaire? The fees from their blockchains. This is why when I'm looking at Dark Fusion and Vara, I have no doubt this will be a multi-billion-dollar company. Blockchain as a service. Dark Fusion will provide development, consulting, and advisory services to projects and corporates that launch on our platform. All right, that is it. I'll do a little bit disclaimer just again. In consideration of Dark Fusion, the company providing this white paper to the recipient acknowledges that the contents of this white paper are confidential to the company, and the recipient agrees not to disclose, distribute, or permit to be communicated verbally, directly, or indirectly, or otherwise, or to otherwise publish the contents of this white paper except with prior written consent of the company. For the purposes of this acknowledgement, recipient includes without limitation any principal, employee, or agent of the recipient. Well, guess what? I already asked the company. I told them that I'm going to be doing this reading of the white paper live. Also, company makes no representation about the underlying value of the tokens on offer. Prospective participants must make their own assessment about whether the price of the tokens being offered represents fair value. Participant warning: participation in a token sale carries high risks. It is highly speculative, and before participating in any project about which information is given, prospective participants are strongly advised to seek appropriate professional advice. The information contained in this white paper has been prepared by or on behalf of the company. Dark Fusion has not undertaken an independent review of the information contained in this white paper. The information in this white paper about the proposed business opportunity is not intended to be the only information on which a decision is to be made, and is not substitute for a disclosure document or any other notice that may be required under the law. Detailed information may be needed to make a token participation decision. All right. Yeah. Okay. That, ladies and gentlemen, brings me to the end of the Dark Fusion read. Now, what do you do next? How can I be involved in this project? I really have 3 angry faces on me. I got 3 angry faces. Wow. Oh, wait. I think that's an accident. I see Patty Geist and Marnita Casa, angry face. Anyways, here's how to get involved. 1, join the Dark Fusion Telegram group. The Dark Fusion Telegram group. Anybody can join that. How many people's in that group now? And I will post the link in here. Buying in blocks, would it still show you as well? Well, that buying in that block was as an OTC, over the counter. So that transaction will show as well if it is a large transaction. Let's see here. Dark Fusion, 5,396 members. And let me copy the link. So if you're not in the Dark Fusion Telegram group, if you want to keep up on what's going on, you can join it there. They also have a Discord channel and everything. How do you become an early adopter? You know, when you see projects that launch, they have what's called seed sales, or they're opening things where they've got tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, the public. This has not gone public yet. My video feed is frozen, but you guys can still hear me though, right? Yeah, I see it on Facebook. My video feed is frozen. But let me know if you can still hear me. Type me. Let me know. On my side, it shows me as that I'm still good. You can still hear me? All right. Well, that's all that matters. Okay. So how do you become, in the first tiers, the ability to get access before the public? You've got to become a Vara ambassador. To be fully, I'm telling you what the cost is. At least $3,500. I'm telling you the cost up front. You can be a Vara ambassador in the ecosystem for $100, as though $120 is the low. But the $3,500 is giving you assets to be used in this ecosystem, as well as 2 access keys. That is also huge. There's going to be another day I'm going to do an entire talk just on the value of the access key. The whole system is running through the access key holders. There's only 25,000 of them available. The outside world may look at them as nodes, but they're validating all the transactions in the VRX system. We'll also have a breakdown so you understand the difference with the DFG is the liquidity for the decentralized exchange. The VRX is the utility. So you have a liquidity token and a utility token. But you want to have access key, because access key holders is getting a percentage of all sales and subscriptions and transactions taking place. There's a separate pool set aside just for that. So I strongly suggest in this early stage, because all the people in the Dark Fusion group that's not a Vara ambassador, they don't have access to this. The only thing they had access to was when the wallet, the web wallet for SEL went live and they got their airdrop. That's it. But an ambassador gets access to so much more. So you want to be an ambassador. So get back to the person who is showing, if you're here live, who invited you, if you're watching the recording, who's ever showing you this recording, get back to them. There's no cost in signing up to become an ambassador. From there, you can choose which package you want to have. This Monday, I'm going to have a confirmation that we're going to have the CMO do a special call Monday morning about, we have a special promo going on till the end of March for all ambassadors. Special promo. Also, we're probably going to have one promo on how to get a free Pro Elite pack. Who wants a free Pro Elite pack for those that are on the lower levels, the $100 levels and whatnot? We're going to put something together for that. That was Miss Marnita Costa's idea. So we're going to be pulling that out as well. But I will confirm by tomorrow when that's happening. I will also be doing a international presentation on Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. I will not be doing one tomorrow. It's Super Bowl Sunday. This recording, even though I'm streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, I'm going to edit just the part out where I started with the Dark Fusion until the end. And I'm going to upload that to YouTube by itself. So anybody that wants to, they don't feel they have the time to read the Dark Fusion white paper by themselves, they can listen to me read it. Only this time I'm giving commentary. I might do another reading of it and just flat out read, But I think the ones where I'm giving commentary like this, an explanation of what you're reading, is more powerful. So then you can share that with others. Again, as a disclaimer, I am not an officer of Vara or Dark Fusion. I am not part of the corporate team. I am an ambassador that saw a presentation like many of you. I bought a package and I went to work. Now they are bringing me on board as their corporate crypto or Vara crypto educator, but I have no decision-making powers when it comes to Vara or Dark Fusion. I am an influencer who likes their project. I've invested in their assets and I want those assets to succeed. Therefore, I'm doing my part to get the word out as best I can with my skill set. Each one of you should be doing the same exact thing, because this project succeeding means you succeed and you make more money. And because if it's a DAO now, we all have ownership of this. So it's in our interest. I shouldn't be the only one. We should have thousands out there right now talking about this daily. So with that, thank you guys for listening to me today. I hope I made sense. I hope I was able to give you guys some aha moments, shed some light on this, because come Monday, I'm running between Monday to the end of March, getting ready for what's coming and making sure we're in the best position as possible. And I'm running with you or without you, but I am running. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Who do you have for the Super Bowl? I'm sorry, the Taylor Swift Bowl. Kansas City Swifts or the 49ers? Who are you rooting for? We'll see that tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Bitcoin Brandon out. Bye-bye. Oh yeah, I got one more last video. I'm going to play a video from the main investor behind Vara, billionaire Rob Hersov from South Africa. All right, bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Rob Hersov, 62 years old. I'm actually 63 later this year. And I am chairman and an investor with Greg Stevens and the team in Vara. And I'm very excited about Vara. I have a background in media, technology, sport, finance, aviation. And even though I'm South African and currently living in Cape Town, I spent 31 years of my life overseas. 6 years in the States, 25 years in Europe and the UK. And I've done many things in the broader TMT media tech sector, but I guess it all started off after Harvard Business School. I worked as Rupert Murdoch's right-hand man in New York at News Corp, and that was an extraordinary experience in itself. I also set up Morgan Stanley's media investment banking team in London and realized pretty quickly I was never going to be the best investment banker in the world, but I found out before they did and moved on and got involved with an extraordinary South African entrepreneur and businessman called Johan Rupert, where for 8 years helped him build the third largest pay television business in Europe. And in the pay television business, we were in subscription television, we were early stages in multi-channel television, and I was with that organization right at the beginning of the internet. And Koos Becker, who discovered Tencent, another South African extraordinary entrepreneur, was talking about the future of digital technology and the internet in those days. So that ages me a little bit. I set up what became Europe's largest sports media internet business called Sportal, which failed. My big business failure in life, but you learn quite a lot through failure. And then since then I've been involved in a whole lot of other industries. But Greg and I met each other about 6 years ago. And Greg Stevens' grandfather, Gavin Relly, and my father were very best friends. Gavin Relly ran one of the biggest mining industrial companies in Africa, as did my father. And even though they competed, they actually were very, very close friends. So I've known Greg and his family for 3 generations. And Greg and I served on a board of a public company in Australia together. We've done a lot of initiatives together, become great friends, trusted friends. And when he told me about his vision for Vara and its original guise and its original concept, I said, I'm in, I'm with you all the way. And so I've co-invested with Greg. I'm there as a friend, advisor, chairman, and I believe that this is the opportunity of my lifetime, and hopefully of yours too. So it's the big one. I wish I could be more actively involved, but I've got other businesses that I have to worry about. But Greg, Dom, Nick, and the team, you can't get a better team than this. And I really am a believer. And I'm happy to keep writing checks, keep investing, and keep getting involved as required to make this the success that you, I, Greg, and the team want it to be, and it deserves to be.